What do we mean by preventing brain decline? Obviously, we mean preventing Alzheimer's and dementia, and that's really the only game because we know it's not a game of treatment. It's already too late. And although there can be some improvements made, it's already too late when the classic symptoms of dementia show. But I want to talk about prevention and what else are we going to prevent. So you're probably watching this video at a time where we have an upcoming talk on preventing brain decline. It's one of our most popular talks and one that people really want to hear and that they're very interested in because many people are like myself who've had a parent with Alzheimer's or dementia, and they've seen that and they've experienced that and they've witnessed it and don't want it to happen to them. I remember walking into the room the first time where my mom didn't know who I was. You always remember that. I'll probably always remember that. But that also drives me to do what I can to help my brain be as healthy as possible. And I want to share in this video what we mean by preventing brain decline because it's also more than just Alzheimer's or dementia. In this temporal lobe of the brain, right across above our ears here, in addition to memory loss, we might experience hearing difficulties or tinnitus or ringing of the ears or insomnia, or our energy will just go through huge shifts throughout the day. Those could all be signs that the temporal lobe is getting some degeneration or decline. Now, if that decline shows up in the frontal lobes of our brain, which relate to our concentration and our focus, we could have, again, poor focus, poor social behavior. We can't take in clues from others very well, so we don't match others socially. We have poor handwriting. Handwriting is horrible, worse than a doctor's. Poor motor planning, poor cognitive learning with math or language, poor impulse control. We can't put the brakes on ourselves. These are the ADHD kids, right? Mental sluggishness or laziness, slow movements, especially in older folks, slowed movements. And then if the left side of the brain is underactive, we may tend more toward depression. If the right side of the brain is underactive, we may tend more toward anxiety. Now, if we're looking at the parietal lobes more up in here, these areas relate to sensory processing. So we could be unstable in the dark or on unsteady surfaces. We can't keep our balance good. We misjudge where our body is and we become injury prone. Or we can't recognize objects that we touch. We're touching things that we're not looking at and we can't recognize those and we get lost easily. So we start noticing that going places that we should be familiar with, we got to stop and think about it. And then, of course, if it gets worse, we got to stop and wonder where we're at. And then we may experience numbness or tingling or pain in odd parts of the body, and especially on the same side of the body. So that's the parietal lobes. If we're talking about the occipital lobes, back here, we may experience visual floaters or hallucinations, or we may have difficulty processing visual information like shapes or colors or movement. And then we may look at something and then we look away and that image is still there. There's a persistence of the image. That's a sign that there's degeneration going on in the occipital lobes. And then if we're talking about the cerebellum down more in here, which is called the little brain, or the area of the brain that deals with balance, coordination, movement, muscle tone, then we may experience dizziness or vertigo, or we may experience blurred vision, or nausea from visual inputs, like you're driving and the things, to the side of you that you're moving past cars and telephone poles and all that gives you a nauseous feeling. And then we may have poor balance or feel clumsy, or we move but we shake at the end of the movement. And then we're going to have more neck and back problems because this area of the brain controls movement and controls muscle tone. And that's the cerebellum. So those are some of the things that we are talking about preventing when we go over our talk, Preventing Brain Decline. And in that talk, we are going to dive deep into all the metabolic factors, what you need nutritionally to prevent your brain from declining, what you need to, how do you need to control your blood sugar, what you need to do in terms of diet. We're going to talk about tests that can head off problems developing as far as inflammation, and some of those are super inexpensive, but they're not done, like a $5 test that relates to dementia risk, and nobody's running it because it's not in the standard panels anymore, but we can order it for $5. We're going to talk about all of those different metabolic factors, and then we're going to talk about how do we turn the brain back on when it's not functioning its best. How do we stimulate it? How do we give it functional stimulation with light, sound, touch, movement? How do we exercise it? How do we train it with a computer? How do we reset the brain in relationship to different stress traumas that have occurred, or big stresses that have locked in the brain and changed how it works? And how do we help it be more organized and more efficient and more effective? So we're going to discuss that neurological side as well. So you're probably watching this because there's an upcoming talk coming on our Preventing Brain Decline. So if you're viewing this on YouTube, look in the post below and see when our next talk is, or go to our website, winterswellness.com. If you're viewing this on Facebook, then look on our Winters Wellness Center page or our Preventing Brain Decline page, which is a group off of the Winters Wellness Center page. You can click Winters Wellness Center and then click Groups and then click Preventing Brain Decline and ask to join. So you're likely seeing it in one of those places, and you'll see when our next upcoming talk is, and you can call our office to register for that, 270-554-2141. Email us at info@winterswellness.com or message us on Facebook. So I'm Dr. Michael Winters, Winters Wellness, Chiropractic Redefined, looking forward to helping you prevent brain decline.